Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be checking out the Diatone Tina Whoop. The idea of this guy was to have the Flight 1 Falco X firmware loaded on it, so you don't need a computer to get it going. Instead, the on-screen display walks you through the setup, which would have been ideal, but there's been a problem. Users have been reporting Esc Burnouts and Diatone have put it down to the automatic turtle mode built into Falco X. So if you land upside down, the quadcopter tries to automatically right itself, but if the props get caught on something and it continues to try and level itself, it causes the ESCs to burn up. So from this point they will be selling the model with Betaflight and are advising all users who currently own one to switch to Betaflight, which is a shame because I really like the idea of the Falco X firmware, and it seems like a drastic thing to do because setting up Betaflight or flashing Betaflight is going to be much harder than was originally advertised to the user, but for whatever reason Flight 1 and Diatone couldn't come up with a solution. The Tina Whoop is named after one of Diatone's employees and is available in two different versions. This is the 2 to 3S version with Mamba branded 1103 8500 kV motors, and they also do a 2S only version with 12,000 kV motors. But that one is going to be difficult for me to recommend because 8500 kV is ample for 2S in the first place. The props are the 4-blade 1.6-inch Gemfan push-on props, and they are in a props-out pusher configuration, similar to the Emax Tiny Hawk. So in theory, there should be less airflow disruption from the prop guards. However, the model is quite heavy for its size, with a dry weight of 61 grams compared to the 30 grams of a Tiny Hawk. So I'm still expecting some yaw washout or prop stall when recovering from aggressive acro maneuvers. And the model's all-up weight is 90 grams, with a 450 mA 2S LiPo. You're only given one set of props as well, which I think is a bit of an oversight, because despite there being prop protectors, the pusher configuration leaves the props open and very close to the ground. Instead, they give you a load of the injection molded protectors in different colours, but from my experience, 9 times out of 10, when the protector breaks, it causes the prop to break at the same time, especially when the protectors are really rugged, like these ones, and the props are brittle in comparison. And it looks like they fed the motor wires through the protector as well, so you would have to desolder the wires from the all-in-one board to properly install a new protector, and the frame isn't that easy to work on in general as well. It consists of 2 carbon plates sandwiched between the protectors which act as standoffs. They have the LiPo in a top mount configuration, which is rare for a model of this size, so that's going to appeal to a lot of people. It comes with a decent battery strap, although they haven't provided an anti-slip LiPo mat, and underneath there's a huge gap in the frame, leaving the all-in-one board exposed. They've designed this flimsy 3D printed part to try and cover it up, but I can see moisture getting in there very easily, and all you need is one unlucky landing to take the board out as well. The frame is also in a dead cat configuration, so the back 2 motors are closer in than the front ones, meaning that some motors have to run faster than others to maintain a hover. And with the ESCs being so close to the bottom of the frame, I feel reluctant to fly it indoors in case the carpet gets burnt or catches fire. I think they initially advised that the Tina Whoop could carry a GoPro, but if there are reports of ESCs burning up without even carrying one, then any extra added weight is going to put even more pressure on the ESCs, so I don't think I'll be doing that. The all-in-one board is Diatone's Mamba F411 with BL Halley S 13A 4-in-1 ESCs and an F4 flight controller. You get given a 90-degree USB adapter, and it came flashed with Betaflight version 4.1.3. If you want to flash from Falco X, you have to hold down the boot button on the board while plugging the model into a computer, which sends it into DFU mode, and from there you select Mamba F411 as the target. If Diatone doesn't make the Betaflight diff available, then I'll add it in the video description. They had air mode on a switch, so I changed that to being permanently on, and I changed a couple of other things as well, but I left their PIDs and rates the same. This is the plug and fly version with their new adapter, so you can either connect it directly to an RXSR without telemetry, or solder to a different receiver. Betaflight was set up for S-Bus, so I've buried my FR Sky RXSR in the body, and there's a 3D printed part with 2 holes for the antennas. It would have been nice if they had provided some antenna straws like GEP-RC do, otherwise there's a risk of the active element of the antennas getting broken. It also houses the linear antenna for the VTX, which in this package is the 800mW TBS Unify locked to 25mW. But due to the current global situation, they're going to start shipping them with their own 400mW Mamba VTX. And remember, the Mamba VTX uses the TRAMP protocol rather than smart audio. So if you are upgrading to Betaflight from Falco X, you'll need to select the correct protocol in the Ports tab. The camera is a Runcam Nano 2 with a 4:3 aspect ratio, and the frame is protecting the camera better than it appears. However, an unlucky shot down the centre would break it. And it's also mounted in TPU, which can cause jallow from the material flexing if the components aren't up to scratch. The package comes in its own carry pouch with some spare parts, including a physical buzzer, which you have to install yourself, along with very minimal instructions, so you will need to be accustomed to Betaflight to get it in the air. Okay, let's go for a line of sight flight. This is just so you can hear what it sounds like and how much power it's got. And for me, I'm listening for oscillations. So I'm in angle mode and that's full throttle. Not a huge amount of power, but definitely enough for a model like this. Not hearing any oscillations, which is good. This is just the tune that it came with. A little bit of a wobble on the descent, but nothing crazy. Let's flip into acro mode. Yeah, no problems in acro mode. When I went for a backflip, it needed quite a bit of throttle on the recovery. So this actually isn't the first line of sight flight that I've done with this guy. I had a quick hover indoors for about 30 seconds and the motors didn't seem to be getting warm, so that's good news. It seems to be behaving here, line of sight. Yeah, that's plenty of power on 2S. Can't see the need for 3S with this guy, especially if you're flying it indoors. It's given me a bit more confidence flying with this guy a little bit, just hovering it, seeing the motors not getting warm. So perhaps there was an issue with that turtle mode. Let's go back into angle mode. There's no drift there, so that's also good for flying indoors. Let's go do some FPV with it. So let's take a look at some DVR footage. I'm using my Fat Shark HDO2s with the rapid fire module, along with a Menace Bandicoot to patch antenna and a Menace periscope antenna. I'm going to go full up on the throttle here to see if we get any jello in the video feed, and there is just a little bit there all of the time, but the sun isn't properly out yet, so I'll take a look at that later. If we take a look at the voltage, it's about 7.8 volts. Let's go full throttle and see if it dips. So crucially, it's staying above 7 volts, which is great. I expected it to sag much more on a 2S. So I think I would stay with a 2S LiPo. With this model, I think 3S would be too much. So I'm flying towards the other end of the field there, and let's go full throttle again. So there's not a lot of power there, but it's just enough, and it's flying acro quite nicely as well. So the tune is working well. It's not perfect, but I don't think you would get it any better due to the type of model it is, so I would leave it the same. So it's doing rolls nicely. One thing I did find initially is I went up on the throttle and did a backflip, and it sort of tumbled over. You can see there, almost as if air mode wasn't enabled, but it was. So I just left a bit of throttle on there and tried it again, and there was no problems there. So not sure what that was about. Maybe the digital idle needs to be a little bit higher. But I started flying really aggressive maneuvers at it to see if I get any yaw washout, and it didn't do that whatsoever. I did an inverted yaw spin, and even though there wasn't a lot of power there, I had to go full throttle to recover. It did recover without yaw washout, so that's really good. So nice and predictable. I was surprised about that, and it's another reason why I would stick to 2S. Now, there is a little bit of electrical noise feeding through to the video feed. It's not from the ESCs, it's just always there. Now, there is a tiny low ESR capacitor on this model. I think it's 47 microfarads, but it's not quite doing the job, but it's not debilitating whatsoever, just a couple of lines there. Now, I'm running at 25 milliwatt here, and I'm about 120 meters away from where I'm standing, and the video feed is fine. I should find that when the antenna is blocked like it is here from my line of sight, it gets a little bit snowy, but it's not bad whatsoever. The flight time was pretty decent as well. I think it was about 3.5 minutes, something like that. So I set my voltage to about 3.3 volts, and when that starts flashing, you're going to want to land. So I'm just going to fly down here between the trees to see how nimble it is. There is no wind whatsoever today. So yeah, no problems flying around here, and this is where the sun starts to come out, so we can see if there is any serious jello feeding through, and it doesn't appear like there is. So I'm going to go full throttle here, but you can see that the voltage is starting to flash, and we've gone into the 6s. So that's when you want to start thinking about landing. It's gone back up to 7, and there's no brownouts, which is good. So again, that's full throttle, and I really shouldn't be doing that. Went to 6.3 volts, but crucially it didn't brown out, so that's really good. So I'm just flying very slow here. I haven't got the camera angle set very high. I could set it higher, but this is about where I want to fly. Now I should have landed here. You can see 6.5 volts and it's flashing, but I didn't. I carried it on and I ended up landing in the grass. So there you go. That is my review of the Diatone Tina Whoop. I'll put a link in the video description if you wish to get one. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.